Welcome to the church at Hiraeth. I'm on a beach. I'm on Anglesey on holiday, and the show goes on as far as the church is concerned. As far as the music clips are concerned, though, well, I'm using ones that Debbie's done recently because I didn't really want to bring the guitar on holiday with us just so that we could sing a couple of songs. But the rest of it, here we are on the beach. And I think for many people, when they think of church, they have an image in their mind of a large building with a steeple, stained glass windows, pews, that sort of thing. But interestingly, in the Bible, it tells us, communicates to us, that the church isn't a building at all. The church is where the people of God are gathered. And today, if you're joining in with us, it's the beach just outside Triada Bay on Anglesey. Enjoy today's service, and here's Debbie from the clip that was recorded back home.
Not to burden we bear, not to sorrow we share, but our toil he doth richly repair. Not to grieve through our loss, not to frown o'er our loss, but is blessed if we trust and obey. Trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus, but to trust and obey. But we never can prove the delights of His love until on the altar we lay all the faith He shows and the joy He bestows. Forever we'll trust and obey, trust and obey. There's no other way to be happy in Jesus, but to trust and obey.
In the 12th century, we had a king called Canute. And I can remember as a youngster finding out all about the kings and queens of our country going back in the past. And Canute was particularly interesting because he was the one who sat on the beach with the tide coming in and ordered the tide to stop because he was the king. And for many years, decades, centuries even, many have believed that he was an arrogant man, that he thought because he was the king that he could stop the tide from coming in. And the story goes on that he sat there on the beach and the tide came in and eventually he had to move. But actually, in recent years, a different picture has been portrayed of the king. One, in fact, that is totally opposite to what we were led to believe for many years. And the picture, the image, the truth that's coming over now is that far from being an arrogant man who was full of himself, who saw himself as the king above all, and therefore the tide must obey him, actually he was saying, I'm the king, but there is a king greater than me. There is one who rules the universe, who can command the waves to stop. Read the scriptures and we read all those stories about nature. And so he sat there on the beach, commanded the sea, the tide, to not come in, but it did, to prove his point. So rather than being an arrogant man, actually, he was someone who was there to make a spiritual point and to prove that there was a king above him, that he didn't have absolute control. The Bible talks about Jesus in Revelation in a couple of instances that spring to mind, where he's called the Lord of Lords and the King of Kings. And that's what Canute was saying. I might be the king of this realm, but there is a king above all over me. I have limited powers. He has no limit whatsoever. And the waves, as they came, and then he was brought back before he got submerged into the incoming tide, proved that point. He has been misunderstood, misrepresented for all those years, but the truth has finally come out. And the point that I want to make is that in our lives, we can be misunderstood, misrepresented, can't we? Have you ever been in a situation where people are basically telling lies about you and other folks believe it, and you feel that it's not right, and it isn't if that's the case? You feel that justice needs to be brought about. In time, it will. It might take time. Things aren't always instant. Things don't happen that quickly that the wrong is put right immediately. It might take weeks, months, maybe even years. But rest assured that when we do the right thing, but we've been lied to or lied about, people tell lies about us, we've been misunderstood, misrepresented, rest assured that eventually the truth will always come through.
What a fellowship, what a joy divine, leaning on the everlasting arms. What a blessedness, what a peace is mine, leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning, safe and secure from all alarms. Leaning on the everlasting arms. Oh, how sweet to walk in this pilgrim way, leaning on the everlasting arms. Oh, how bright the path grows from day to day, leaning on the everlasting arms. Safe and secure from all alarms. Leaning on the everlasting arms.
I hope that you've enjoyed our online service today. It's certainly different, but it's still the same. It's still that idea to communicate the principles, the spiritual applications that we can bring into our lives, whether we're in a church building as we understand it or we're on a beach. We can still connect with God, can't we? But if you have been misunderstood, misrepresented, had lies told about you, rest assured, as I've already said, I want to reinforce that fact that the truth will always come through in the end. Amen.